Hallowed of the city of Olivet. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Olivet City Council meeting for February 10th, 2026. Can we please have roll call?
Mayor Clark,
Present.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil. Here. Councilmember Solomonov.
Here.
Councilmember Sean Hellman.
Here.
Councilmember Lewis.
Present.
Okay, do we have any communications that we'd like to share?
I do. I have two. I am going to read these. The first one I'm probably going to read pretty fast because it's 2 pages. So I want to get it in the 3 minutes. I am Nina Miller, 36 Pricewoods Lane. Several months ago, I emailed all council members and the police chief and came before the council to ask that our city be prepared in the event that federal immigration enforcement activity occurs in our community. I'm back again because recent events around the country make it clear that this can happen anywhere, and no community should assume it won't happen here. I want to be very clear, this is not about creating fear or encouraging confrontation. It's about knowing our rights, staying calm, and protecting the safety and dignity of everyone who lives here. Based on guidance from well-established civil rights and immigration legal organizations, there are a few basic things people should know. First, people have the right to observe and record law enforcement activity in public spaces, including federal immigration agents, as long as they don't interfere. Recording from a safe distance can matter. Second, everyone has the right to remain silent regardless of immigration status. No one is required to answer questions about where they were born or their immigration status. Third, anyone can ask, "Am I free to go?" If the answer is yes, they can leave. If the answer is no, they are being detained and should remain silent and ask for a lawyer. Fourth, people do not have to consent to searches. They can simply say, "I do not consent to a search." Fifth, federal agents generally need a judicial warrant signed by a judge to enter a home or private space. An administrative warrant issued by ICE alone does not give them that authority. And finally, people should not physically interfere, argue, or escalate situations. Staying calm and safe is essential. I'm sharing this not to alarm anyone, but because preparation reduces panic. Clear information saves time, stress, and sometimes lives. I am asking the Olivet Police Department to commit to the fullest extent allowed by law to not participating in civil immigration enforcement, including declining voluntary assistance and limiting information sharing to what is legally required. I understand that Missouri law prohibits so-called sanctuary policies, but Missouri law does not require local police to enforce civil immigration law, and it does not require voluntary cooperation beyond what the law demands. What I'm really asking for is clarity. I'm asking the City of Olivet and the Olivet Police Department to clearly and publicly explain what they will do and what they will not do so residents aren't left guessing in a moment of fear or confusion. Clear guidance protects residents, but it also protects the city. Unclear or inconsistent responses increase the risk of constitutional violations, legal challenges, and loss of community trust. Clear statements help officers, residents, and city staff all know where the lines are. Preparation does not create fear, silence does. In moments of uncertainty, residents look to their government for reassurance. Silence, even when unintended, can feel like abandonment. Other Missouri cities have already shown that this can be done within the Missouri law. For example, the Ferguson Police Department recently issued the following statement. To our Ferguson community, in light of recent public concern, we want to speak directly and clearly to the people we serve. The Ferguson Police Department exists to protect the safety and constitutional rights of every person in our city, without exception and without bias. We want our residents to know the Ferguson Police Department does not conduct immigration raids. We do not stop, question, or detain anyone solely to determine immigration status. We do not profile based on race. Should I keep going or? Okay. We do not profile based on race, ethnicity, national origin, religion, or language. Our mission is local public safety and constitutional policing. Immigration enforcement is a federal responsibility, and any such actions in our area are carried out by federal agencies under their own legal authority. The role of the Ferguson Police Department remains focused on public safety, emergency response, and maintaining the peace. The Ferguson Police Department fully complies with all applicable state and federal laws, including Missouri laws that prohibit policies restricting lawful cooperation with federal agencies. Lawful cooperation does not convert Ferguson officials into immigration enforcement agents. Lawful cooperation does not include civil immigration status checks or enforcement actions outside our legal authority. The Ferguson Police Department and this community have invested deeply in building a police department with a strong foundation of constitutional policing. We will not retreat from that. Chief Troy Doyle.
I replied to her and I CC'd the council as well. So if you haven't read it, you might want to read it. But I did reply to her.
Okay. I also have one more.
Okay, go ahead.
This one is from Sue Rich. It says, I have concerns about the retail pharmacy parking along Olive Street Road. Having two-way parking parallel to Olive will cause even more traffic congestion entering and merging onto Olive. I've come before the council a couple of times asking that Dealman Industrial Drive connecting onto Olive on the east side of the property restrict left-hand turns during rush hour 3 to 6 p.m. There are many streets and driveways in very close proximity with cars trying to come out and turn left onto Olive. In many cases, the cars go into the middle turn lane, restricting cars from making lefts onto Dealman Industrial or into the mobile gas station or into Taco Bell, etc. My suggestion is that you make that front parking and driveway area eastbound only so cars will enter it from the west going eastbound. Those cars will then come out onto Dealman Industrial. If they want to go eastbound on Olive, they would have to go north, and then they could either go east or west heading to Price or Dealman Road to the west. Ultimately, both Price and Dealman have stoplights on Olive where they could either go east or westbound on Olive Street Road. If they want to go west on Olive, they could make a right-hand turn on Dealman and turn right onto Olive westbound. There have been a number of discussions over the years about the amount of traffic on Olive turning in or out of the gas station, the Taco Bell, and the number of businesses that really cause potential safety concern. One of the safety issues is people walking along Olive with all the driveways with cars trying to pull out onto Olive. Thank you for your consideration and time. Sincerely, Sue Rich. Now I'm finished.
Now we'll go on to item 3 with the city manager's report.
Good evening. All right, couple of things. So it is the first of the month, so we talk about the updates for Olive Crossing. So lot 3, if you haven't driven in, the signs for Brass Tap and Paris Baguette are up. So that is that's a good sign that their tenant finishes are moving forward. And I think they are both on track to open later this spring. So as we get more information about when that will be specifically, we will certainly pass that along. And I believe the Brass Tap has a ribbon cutting through the chamber on April, I think it's April 10th, I believe, but I sent that invite to the council members. So you should have that in your email. And then as far as Tropical Smoothie and Verizon, those permits have been issued for lot 3, and then there is one remaining vacant tenant space. Lot 5, again, this is the lot that we believe the developer is working with a restaurant on. I think they are getting close to finalizing the lease, and hopefully we will have an announcement to make as to who that restaurant will be within the next couple of weeks. So as soon as we get that information, we will certainly share it with everyone. Lot 6 is the hotel. So as you know, per the development agreement that we approved in the summer, the developer had a deadline for January 31st to start grading on the site. They did, in fact, take about 10 truckloads of dirt off the site January 30th. And so I was encouraged that they were going to keep grading, but they have not. So so I sent them a assertive email today about the status that they've not continued grading, and I have since heard from them, Mr. Braidwood, who represents Keeley, and he would like to talk to me, you know, about the end of this week, probably Thursday or Friday. So as I know more, I will certainly share. But it is moving forward. The hotel, which is scheduled for lot 6, has been approved. And they are working on submitting their building permits to the planning department, but they haven't done it at this point. No, not yet, but they will. So we have that. And then of course the other lots are completed, and Aldi is doing well, and certainly had a very full parking lot when it snowed, the last time it snowed. So, and then the apartment complex is also doing well. On a side note, we had been talking about Irvington Rhyme, and that apartment building that is behind Chevy's and CVS, and they are moving along really well, and they had talked about doing occupancy potentially as early as the end of this month or March. But unfortunately, overnight, a water line broke and several inches of water in the first floor. So they're probably going to have to push back their opening through, Mother Nature's fault. So they, spring, it'll be spring probably. And speaking of businesses, this is our third annual Olivet Business Awards for both the business and the restaurant of the year. So I would certainly encourage anyone to vote for your favorite. You can follow the QR code. It will take you to the webpage where you can not only see a list of all of our businesses and restaurants, but then you can cast your vote. And as in years past, you can cast up to 3 votes you can nominate up to 3 businesses and 3 restaurants. So we encourage everyone to do that. And then next week on the 18th, I know the council has received a number of communications from folks about noise and air pollution, specifically about a business in unincorporated St. Louis County north of Indian Meadows. And so the St. Louis County Department of Public Health, their air pollution control program staff are holding a public town hall here at City Center, February 18th between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. We would encourage anyone in the community who would like to learn about air sources, permitted air sources and what this air pollution control program does to attend. And then if you do have any questions, they are taking questions. Today is the last day. But if they have any questions, please submit them to this email address so that they can be addressed in the presentation by the staff person. So they kind of have an understanding of what kinds of things the communities has questions about. I did submit 4 specific questions related to AZZ galvanizing, as I know the council has gotten a number of questions and comments from residents about that. And so I just wanted to make sure that at least somebody asked about that. Open mic night is Thursday, February 26th. So if you have a hidden talent, we would encourage everybody to go to Five Oaks and share your hidden talent, or if you just want to cheer people on. It's 7:15 to 8:45 and it's free. The Understanding Traffic Stops, this is the program initiated by the police department. They are doing another spring session, April 23rd. It is for new drivers or it's not only young new drivers, but adult drivers who maybe want to know what would happen in a traffic stop. And so it's kind of a 2-part class. The first is kind of a traditional class setting to talk about driving and traffic stops, and then there's a hands-on session in the parking lot. We use some of the fleet vehicles. Nobody drives anywhere, but it is the actual sitting in the vehicle, having a police officer approach so they get some practice in what that would look like. So if you're interested, you want to register yourself or someone please follow the QR code. And then secondly, every year the Missouri Municipal League asks for innovations that cities have done throughout the year. And so I talked to the police department and our communications manager about submitting this program to that awards to see if the city can get an award for it. I think it's a great program started by the police department, and it's certainly something that is scalable for small cities and larger cities. So we'll see what happens with that. And just a reminder, City Center will be closed February 16th, Monday, February 16th for President's Day. Residential trash routes are not affected. So if that's your trash day, please go ahead and put it out. And again, we just encourage everybody to sign up for Olivet Weekly. And then I do have a couple things for council to talk about. or provide some direction to staff for. So the first is the 24-hour liquor sales allowed during the World Cup soccer tournament upcoming this year. So this is something that we had brought to the council previously. We did poke our liquor license holders. We only got 2 responses that said that they would be interested. So what I would like, I know the council had questions about if a restaurant has a special use permit and if they have hours listed in that special use permit, if this 24-hour sale trumped those hours. Ms. Carr can answer that for you.
They would still have to abide by the hours set forth in the special land use permit. Those are separate. This these special hours only go to the hours listed for purposes of the liquor license itself, not the special land use permit.
So what I'm looking for is, is the council wanting to opt in? Is the council wanting to opt out? And then we can put forward any required legislation. The number of cities, it's been a topic of conversation. It's mixed. A number of cities are opting out. Some cities are waiting until it's closer. Some cities have opted in. So I don't have a.
Is there any advantage or disadvantage opting in sooner or opting out?
Well, if you opt in sooner, then affected businesses could plan, for staffing and supplies and whether or not they want to participate.
Advertise maybe.
Advertising. So it's really the advantage is giving our business community the time to be able to plan if they want to participate.
Is it all or none on 24 hours? Could we say not 24 hours, but 20 hours or 18? Because I mean, the World Cup being in the United States or at least North America, like I don't anticipate games at 3 a.m. Not that any special use permit, I think, even allows that, but I'm also wondering why invite that?
Mhm.
I can't think, I'd have to, Mr. Trejo may be able to tell us, but I can't imagine the latest we would allow anyone to be open anyway. And that's what's going to override any liquor, correct? So,
This is all of it. We're usually in bed by 10:30.
well, I just don't think any special use permit allows anyone to be open past like a certain time, if I'm correct. But that I'd be curious to know that.
If we have special land use permits with hours of operation,
Yeah, I know we do.
do.
I'd like to know what those hours are, I guess, but I personally I'm in favor of doing this. I have no concerns. I kind of want to know what we're playing with here, if
Sure.
that makes sense.
And then your other question is, can we do something less than 24 hours?
so I would have a concern with that because your ordinances do have to be consistent with state law. So the way that this new bill is written is that the hours for these 6 weeks are are the 24 hours, and I think it's really actually around 23 hours. They say it's 24 hours, but when you look at them, it almost looks like 23 hours in the bill. So if you tried to do something in between, I think you would run into a problem of being inconsistent with the state law because the state law sets it up as either the 130 or the 24 hours.
Okay, so then I guess my request would just be to understand what are the special use permit hours we might run into for businesses that serve liquor.
Sure. And is there some sentiment from the rest of the council about wanting us to prepare any needed legislation about opting in, or would you like to opt out?
Actually, one more clarifying question.
Sure.
So are there any businesses right now that can be open past 1:30 in the city?
I don't have enough information to be able to say yes or no.
So we're talking about 24 hours, but if no business is allowed to be open past 1:30 anyway, then doesn't that negate?
That's kind of my question.
Right.
That's what I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know. The one is it liquor by the drink only sales, or is it all liquor?
I believe it's just liquor by the drink. Yeah.
Okay, so that
I'll have
would
to check.
negate Mobile on the Run, which potentially is
And the
open,
liquor store.
and the liquor store.
It's close.
So it'd just be the restaurants.
Gone?
Closed by
Oh.
those hours.
But they might
Yeah.
change it. That's the question. So
Correct.
yeah, I'm in favor of the legislation as long as we understand this is my thought.
I'm in favor of it if I have a better understanding of the actual hours.
Okay, so we'll prepare some, this is what I needed, was just some direction, right? I'm not asking you to make a decision. So we'll prepare the needed legislation and we'll provide some staff context for you when we bring it forward, okay? And then the second has to do with, section 125.100 in the city code, and it's specifically related to the EDC, the Economic Development Commission. And this has been brought forward by Councilmember Pashan Hellman in comments. That particular section essentially says that the EDC needs 4 votes in order to take any action or to forward any recommendation to the council. So EDC only has 5 members, so that's essentially a supermajority vote. And so Jennifer Conrad did some research about the code section relative to the Economic Development Commission. And through the years, the Economic Development Commission has changed their membership a number of times, from very specific sets to having voting and non-voting members to having 7 members. And it appears that in 2013, when they reduced the number of members from 7 to 5, they didn't then go change section 125.100 and adjust the number down to 3 from 4, right? Because a majority of 7 is 4. So it appears that this just needs to be corrected, and it was just an oversight from 2013. So if the council is interested in correcting what we believe is an oversight, we can draft some language for you and bring it forward.
Obviously, I brought this forward, so I'm in favor of it.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm in favor. Okay, we'll draft language and bring it forward to you. Okay, and then just the regular upcoming meetings are on the screen for the next couple of weeks. And then on the council's social calendar, again, March 13th is the Chamber's Firefighter and Police Officer of the Year. If you're interested in going, please let me or Jennifer Conrad know, because we have to RSVP for that and pay for chairs at that event, as well as the annual Police Association prayer breakfast on April 28th at 8 a.m. It's in St. Charles at the Convention Center. So if you're interested in going, please let me or Jennifer Conrad know, because again, we have to RSVP. And then because we are quickly approaching budget season, I would just like to tentatively put on your calendars these 3 days, March 31st, April 21st, and May 19th, as possible budget work session days. If we don't need them, I will certainly tell you, but I would like you to, pencil it in. The other thing that we may do, trying to get, budget work sessions in and being cognizant of your time, is if we happen to have a super short agenda on a regular council meeting, we could also have the regular agenda, adjourn that meeting, and then spend an hour to an hour and a half in a work session for the budget, right? So that you're already here, we're making the most use possible, of your time. So we would, of course, let you know that and advertise it accordingly and all of those things. But I'm just asking that you pencil these 3 days in on your calendars. And that is all I have for the council.
We're going to go on to our city council reports. I'll start to my right. Councilmember Solomonov.
I attended the pension board meeting last week. There's some adjustments to the plan, but nothing too major to report on at this time.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Lewis, please.
No report from me because I was out of town, so I think, yeah, nothing from my side.
Okay. Councilmember Pashan Hellman.
I attended the PCDC meeting on February 5th, where there was some houses that were approved, and then notable for something that will be coming to us, the PCDC passed amendment to Section 400 regarding special permit uses for data centers. So I think that will be coming to the council in March. And then there was also a discussion about the new FEMA map updates that demonstrated some flood map changes that have impacts for some areas in Olivet that weren't listed on the maps previously as being impacted. So I think that's important information that hopefully we can find a good way to share that with residents, and also help provide any resources if they choose to appeal the map findings, and need to work out different changes to their insurance as well. And then I also attended on January 29th and 30th, the One STL Climate Action Summit, and was great to see lots of representation there from municipalities throughout St. Louis, businesses, nonprofits, community organizations, and we had a great showing with 3 of our planning staff also in attendance. Lots of great ideas, and a very inspiring, hopeful, encouraging 2 days that I hope to bring more concrete information to the council during some future work sessions.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem.
I just want to share as a Parks liaison that we had our first, of which I hope will be many, craft and vendor fairs this past Saturday. I don't know if everyone got to stop by, but we had about, I believe, 30 booths. We hit capacity, and all of the vendors were pleased, and they thought there was a steady flow of people all day, and the energy there was just really positive. So hopefully, like I said, it'll be the first of many. And what was nice, what I heard from the vendors is that during the winter months, it's hard to find fairs to do. You know, around the holidays, they were busy, and during the summer. So they loved that we did it in February. So I will pass it on to the Parks Commission next week.
All right. I did not have anything to share at this time, so we're going to go on to item number 5, hearing from citizens. Are there any citizens in the audience that would like to come to the microphone and speak? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to item number 6. Present.
See if there's anyone online.
Oh, is there anyone online? Do you don't see anything? Okay, then we'll go on to number 6. Presentation and approval of the financial statement audit for the
Oh.
fiscal year.
Do I still have that on there? Did I not go in there?
Huh?
That ain't it.
Yeah, you had that on there. No, that's okay.
No, it's his thing.
No, there was something on it that shouldn't have been on it. That's cool. Okay, so we're gonna go on to bill number 3056. If we can have a reading on that, I guess.
Yeah, Bill 3056, an ordinance authorizing a special permit use to 9321 Olive LLC to permit Mercy Healthcare Organization to operate a centralized ambulatory pharmacy on the property grounds addressed as 9321 Olive Boulevard, zoned LID Light Industrial District. Second reading.
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. My name is Carlos Trejo. I'm the Director of Planning and Community Development for the City of Olivet. Mayor, I'm here for the consideration of action following the second reading. I'd be glad to answer any questions. I do have representatives from the ownership and from a group representing Mercy, and then several people online.
Oh,
I pointed at one with the mayor.
Mr. Trejo, obviously I was, part of it on listening to it through the PCDC, but I wanted to address kind of Ms. Rich's question about the turning and the parking.
Great question. Yes, sir.
I think there had been addressment of that by moving the entrance back more, but just kind of curious from you in the overall comprehensive plan, the flow, your thoughts on that.
No, that's something we take a careful look in there, and I appreciate the concerns and the comments that were provided. Remember, we did the 2017 Catalyst strategy that took a look at the opportunities to improve the corridor through redevelopment through various ways of financing as developments occurred on the corridor. So following that, in 2019, we did the Olive Boulevard Corridor Master Plan, which extended all the way from Dealman Industrial to Old Bonham and Olive. In that, we provided a lot of statistics and crash studies. We did it in 2019, and it represented traffic volumes and crash information and accident occurrences, pre-COVID. So at that point, we had about 3,500 employees in the industrial park, and they're way less now with some vacancy, with some recent adjustments in companies in there. And then following that, we did another study in 2021, kind of using after COVID, but predicted numbers, considering the redevelopment activities that were going on in in University City, to take a look at these and what that led to the recommendations that are actually going to come before you after this bill, doing the improvements at Price and Olive, Dealman Industrial and Olive. So in discussions with the developer, we talked about the 2017 study and potential future consideration of the Taco Bell redevelopment to get these access points combined. There are some difficulties in that, and there's just not a nexus or enough synergy there to kind of place it all in there, because there's some utility poles, there's a fire hydrant, some grade differences in there. Restricting it to a right in, right out would cause some conflict points, because it's only one apron between the two developments. If you ever go there, the sidewalk stops. You walk along a full apron between those two ramps before the next sidewalk starts and settles in. So there are recommendations in the 2017 that we've kind of implemented in this process. And then in 2021, when we did the Northeast Hilltop Corridor study, that was looking at, again, the future projections, given all the activity going on in University City and what we had going on here at the crossing. It recommended, the expansion of turning movements at Price and Dealman Industrial, both along Olive, to put in dedicated right turn lanes that would kind of alleviate some of that rush and that left turn traffic in there. In addition to that, the one thing that we did implement already in that plan is through Mr. McGregor is extend the Dealman turning lane heading southbound on Olive. That lane was extended all the way to the entrance of Walgreens. Before, you maybe had the opportunity of 4 to 5 queuings, and now you have probably about 8, I would think, in there. So, we're cognizant of those issues. We did kind of take a look at that and make sure we're following our plans and all the studies that we put together, and tried to move that forward in there. It's a good point. The other thing, I'll note, it is difficult to oversee or restrict traffic on private property in there. I know, when there's discussions that affect the planning staff, like hours of operations and all that, it's us that are out there trying to enforce. If we get a call that, there's too much noise, they're too late in there, this kind of shifts a burden on police department, like, somebody turned in at this time, and what's going to happen and all that. And there are some sensible ones, but I think trying to restrict that, shifts it doesn't balance the return or the benefit in most cases. So I do recognize the concerns, and I do believe in these plans, and I have strong confidence that this corridor is going to continue to redevelop, and that we are going to make a catalyst start and changes on there.
Thank you.
Was there discussion at the PCDC level for closing off the entrance to the west?
It was brought up in there, but in the end of the day, I think they stuck with their plans in there. But yes.
From the previous meeting, there was a discussion that the parking in the front would largely be for customers.
Correct.
Who come in, which it sounded like there wouldn't be too much traffic, like a customer base, that there's a decent amount of like the pharmaceutical mail in or mail out orders. Am I correct in
Correct. That's a
remembering?
description during the public hearing that they kind of presented.
Right. So I guess my question then is that if that entrance primarily, I mean, I see that there's this like side drive that goes along to the back. I'm looking on a map on my phone. A side drive to the west that links up with the back parking lot. I'm just thinking, we don't have right-of-way easements to combine those two like we would like right now. I'm wondering what would the harm be in closing off that?
I think you put the fire safety, it becomes a fire safety concern, something probably the best answered by the chiefs in there, because I think you start to impact their circular movement around the building. And that was one of the things we sat and had discussions with them on. I mean, it's in there, but I think that would be best answered by them.
Am I correct, though? I thought the west side, though, you couldn't drive through.
It's pretty narrow. They used to have a generator that was there, but that was removed.
Okay. I
So-
for some reason thought that was the case, but we.
Was it still there?
confident.
It's fully open.
Okay.
Do we have any other questions from the council?
I guess it's more for maybe one of the people that's here, the gentleman behind you, when they talk about because the traffic flow and making the left turns out of there is crazy, because I go to Mobile on the Run every now and then and try to go right, but can't always. Wouldn't they say that there's not a lot of traffic out of there, but it's more of the mailing? Are we talking 50 to 200 people a day? Are we talking, I mean, is there an average of what they're expecting?
Let's see, Mr. Stock, I'm not sure if there's a Mercy representative that.
No, I'm happy to answer.
Okay.
George Stock with Stock and Associates here on behalf of Mercy. From a visitor standpoint, 20 to 30 visitors during the day. There's more than 200 employees, up to 200 employees, but those would be in the AM and PM, and they all park on the north side of the
Right.
building. So it's less trafficated across the front.
Then we explain them, then we're
Yeah.
thinking.
Yes,
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you're welcome.
Do we have any other questions from the council? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion. Motion to approve Bill 3056, an ordinance authorizing a special permit used to 9321 Olive LLC to permit Mercy Healthcare Organization to operate a centralized ambulatory pharmacy on the property grounds and addressed as 9321 Olive Boulevard, zoned LID Light Industrial District.
We have a second.
Second.
Okay, can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Yes,
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
The motion is passed. Bill 3056 becomes ordinance 2826.
good luck.
All right, we're going to go now to bill number 3057.
Bill 3057, an ordinance amending section 215.1550 of the municipal code relating to Halloween restrictions on registered sex offenders. First reading.
So the council is not asked to do any, make any action. This is the ordinance that removes the requirement for individuals who are on the sex offenders registry to post a sign on Halloween that says no candy or treats at this residence. And the reason we are bringing this forward is that the Eighth Circuit Court of Appeals decided that requiring that sign was unconstitutional. And so we need to take that out of our code. The three other requirements are all still would all still be on the books. And so these individuals would be required to avoid all Halloween related activities with children. They would need to remain inside their residence between 5 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. on Halloween. And then they have to have all of their outdoor lighting off after 5 p.m. on Halloween. So those three stay, but the posting of the sign would be removed. And so as this is a first reading, there's no action required of the council, unless you have any questions.
So the way I read it, they can put a sign saying no candy or treats at this residence.
No, those,
They can
But
if they choose to,
but
they
it's
can't
not
be
required.
forced to,
Gotcha.
right?
Okay.
So the court held that that was compelled speech and that's why it's unconstitutional. But if they want to voluntarily, absolutely.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any more questions from the council? All right, we'll go on to item number 8, MoDOT cost share. Olive Intersections Improvement Project Award. Do we have any kind of presentation? Here comes the man with the plan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Well, we've been talking about a lot of traffic tonight on Olive, so and I'll reaffirm what Mr. Trejo said. You know, we have looked very closely at the movements on Olive Boulevard. and, are following the recommendations based on, the traffic studies, on accident reports, and the recommendations. So we hear what Ms. Retch is recommending, and I certainly can attest as well to making that leap for a left turn on Olive. And I also recognize that I have a choice too to not follow that route in that area. So we are working very hard to improve those and take opportunities as they come to change some of those aprons and intersections along the roadway. So this is just for a refresh. This is our cost share project with MoDOT, which means the work along the MoDOT right of way is shared with the MoDOT at a roughly 50% basis. The work on the city streets is paid for out of our own funds. Okay, so we're choosing to do some additional work on Dealman Industrial and North Price, taking the pavement restoration all the way back to the next intersection. So that'll go on Price Road down to Alice, and then Dealman Industrial down to basically the front of the Emerson building. Okay, so the grant really only applies to the work along the MoDOT right away in the front. I don't have the exact balance of the numbers in front of me, but it is not a exact 50% split of the $500,000 or 550. This is within budget of what we had estimated the project when we did the grant application several years ago. I think we received the award in 2023 or thereabouts, and we've been working very hard to keep this project moving ahead of schedule, mostly because we knew we had new tenants coming into the industrial park and the Irvington Apartments coming online for the additional traffic load. Infrastructure Management is a new contractor to Olivet. We have not worked with them before, but have checked with a couple peers, and they have a good reputation of completing what we call local public agency projects of this nature with municipalities. We are anticipating beginning work in mid-March when weather allows. Have a pre-construction meeting the end of the month, and I expect the project to be substantially complete by early July. Again, pending weather along the project schedule. Glad to answer any questions if there are any.
Will there be any detours around the construction, or is it going to be open enough to where people can access both?
We will have, lane closures on North Price. There isn't really an opportunity to detour there, but we will entertain creative traffic plans for Dealman Industrial. There may be a need or an opportunity for a faster work schedule to make Dealman Industrial northbound only for a period of time. It's easier to detour people from Dealman Industrial than from Olive Boulevard. So we would want to keep that traffic movement going north. But if we could close a lane, that would allow the crews to work, a larger work area to complete the improvements to the roadway. And there may be a partnership for the contractor to do the work for Mercy, relocating the entrance to the south. Or to the north rather, since they're there and mobilized, but that has not been designed yet, and we haven't, even touched on it. But it is a economy of scale, so to speak, for getting all the roadway improvements done faster.
The link to plans that's in here it's not a clickable link. I wasn't able to get
And I
that,
tested that before I
actually opened. So
Okay.
I'm familiar with what the plans are from previous discussions at what's happening with Olive and North Price, especially since the demolition of the building and the widening there. But I'm not as familiar with what is happening at the Dealman Industrial.
Sure. Well, so at Dealman Industrial, we are widening to the east, towards the retaining wall and the vacant parcel. Essentially, we have more room on that side. Dealman Industrial is not centered on the right of way in that area, so we have more vacant ground towards the sidewalk. So the last 40 feet or so of the retaining wall that's adjacent to that sort of sloped area is going to get pushed a little bit east, and that's going to make room for the sidewalk to come around adjacent to the wall, and then that'll create the right turn lane in. So you'll have a little sort of chicane, not really a chicane, but a turn as you come in. And then the roadway on the southbound side is going to get 2 lanes. So that way they will have a, dedicated right turn lane and a stacking lane for, for left turn. So yes, so the sidewalk and everything over there, that is all going to shift a little bit east. The property line is about at the top of the berm where the trees are. That's about the property line there. So that's all going to shift over. The driveway apron on your left to the 9321 building, that is going to shift down between the 2 light poles. And then where the center line is, that'll become 2 lanes essentially for dedicated right turn and left turn lanes.
Okay. So it'll go back, will the resurfacing of the road go back to that driveway apron? that
The
will lead in?
resurfacing will go all the way back to the Emerson building where the stop sign is at the end, but the lane widening won't go that far back.
Okay.
Yeah, so we're going to take the opportunity to replace all of that asphalt. I'll see if I can't fix the link on there, and maybe it was because I was logged into the system that it worked when I tested it. So,
Are there any other questions from the council? Do we have any questions online?
just one other thing to add.
Okay.
This morning we received the concurrence of award from MoDOT. So that's the attached a second attachment on the agenda online. As of Friday morning when we did this, we hadn't received that official. So whenever for an LPA project, the award has to be approved by you folks, but also by the state. So that's what they call concurrence and award, that they agree that we did the process following the LPA guide.
Understood.
And so the recommended motion,
Yeah, it can just say we can leave off after official concurrence of award. So we can immediately authorize the city manager to execute the agreement.
Okay, well, I will take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to execute a contract not to exceed $570,655 with Infrastructure Management, Inc. And then actually that's it.
That's
right?
it, yeah.
I'll second that.
Okay, can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis,
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Now we're going to item number 9, MSD Project Clear Municipal Stormwater Grant Program Participation Agreement. That's a mouthful.
So in April of 2024, MSD put forward Proposition S, which was an initiative to fund stormwater issues throughout St. Louis County. And as part of that initiative, MSD agreed that a portion of that annual funding would be set aside for participating municipalities so that the municipalities can address local stormwater problems. So Olivet's eligible portion is $75,000. The money is divided based on population, and so based on our population, would get the $75,000. The agreement is a perpetual agreement for the city to participate in this program. So this is not something that council would have to reauthorize every year. MSD has drafted this agreement so that once you have signed it, you can stay in so long as you choose to stay in. Or if you don't abide by the rules of the program or misabuse the program, then MSD can decide to not allow you to participate. So staff is asking the council to authorize the city to enter into this agreement with MSD.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion
I
to
have a
authorize.
I have some
Oh, I'm
questions.
sorry. I jumped in too fast.
We can receive this grant funding before we have a clear plan of how we're gonna use it?
No. It's gonna work like a grant, so we have to have a plan. We have to submit it to MSD. MSD has to approve it, and then they will grant us up to $75,000. We believe,
encumber funds. to a
Thank you.
subsequent year so
Yeah,
that we
encumber
we've
it.
done this with the OMCI projects, where we've assembled enough funds so that we can build a project.
Because $75,000 is not gonna go very far. It doesn't go very far. So if there is a project that we, believe is worth pursuing, but we need to, take 3 years to build up the funds, then we can do this. But no, they will not just give us a random $75,000 to do it as we see fit. We do have to adhere to their rules and they do have to approve it.
And do we have a sense of, at least for this first year, or if there is something that's a 3-year plan of how we would hope to use it?
So the city's in the process of receiving a stormwater master plan from EDM. That is something that previous councils had put in the works. And so I think that stormwater master plan, as well as staff knowledge of areas of need, would guide requests. And then they would be brought to council ideally through the budgeting process, right? Just like we do with road projects.
Do we have any other questions? Okay, I will entertain a motion.
Now I can go. I'd like to make a motion to authorize the city manager to enter into municipal stormwater grant participation agreement with MSD.
I'll second.
Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis.
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman.
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov.
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil.
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
The motion is passed.
All right, so we're going to go on to item number 10, hearing from citizens, part 2. All right, I don't see any citizens in the audience. We do have someone with the hand raised online. Jason, if we could see your face.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you. Can you turn your monitor on, please?
I don't see an option to do that. Apologies. Yeah, I don't see anything in the Zoom that allows me to do
Should be
that.
a camera at the bottom left-hand side.
No, I'm not.
Well, go ahead, Jason.
Not seeing anything. Sorry about that. It might be on my end, but I just on that MSD project ideas. I live at 9328 Kenneth Place, and I guess last year the city and MSD did some work on the stormwater drain that runs parallel behind Kenneth. They did part of it last year, kind of halfway down from Dolores down Kenneth. I'm just curious if maybe doing the latter half of that stormwater drain is a project that might be, in consideration for the grant funding.
Well, well, if you would, sir, can you send that to us in writing? Because generally we don't answer questions like that, through the meetings.
I've
Go ahead.
spoken to this is Bruce McGregor, Public Works Director. I've spoken with Mr. Murray before about this. He's upstream, and as part of the development on his house, they actually did some channel stabilization on the stormwater channel in his backyard. Once we get the stormwater master plan, then we'll identify more projects, but I don't expect a project upstream of where we ended the work on that we called it the Llewellyn Channel project, which was the 2 weirs and native plantings. I don't anticipate going upstream.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jason. Have a good evening. All right, we're going on to item number 11, review and acceptance of minutes. Are there any corrections to the minutes that anyone saw? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
I move to approve the minutes from January 27th
Do we have a
and
second?
the work session minutes from February 3rd.
Second.
All right, can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis.
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
The motion is passed.
All right. Item number 12, City Attorney's Report.
No report this evening, but we will need a closed session for legal.
Okay. I'd like to entertain a motion to go into closed session for attorney-client privileges matters.
I'd like to make a motion to hold an executive session pursuant to the revised statutes of the state of Missouri, section 610.0211, legal action or litigation in attorney-client privilege matters.
Can we get a second, please?
A second.
Can we please poll the council?
Councilmember Lewis.
Yes.
Councilmember Pashon Hellman,
Yes.
Councilmember Solomonov,
Yes.
Chairman Pro Tem Weil,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes.
Motion is passed.
So we are now going into closed session. We are out of closed session. No decisions were made at this time. I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
So be it.
Second.
All right. Good night, all.